Okay, good evening or afternoon or whatever your time zone happens to reveal. It's good always to be on the call with everyone. So before we begin formally, let's in essence withdraw our attention into the pure awareness, the quality of being, the very self that we all are. I feel that most of us have been on the call enough times and been in the program or the teaching for a while to know that this awareness that we are cognizant of being is not an individual consciousness, even though it may seem to be manifesting individually, but that in truth it is a universal awareness that we are all one with. Similar in analogy to one ocean with many waves, but there's only one body in essence, manifesting as the seeming individual bodies, appearing as each one of us. That in truth we are this single, universal awareness, which is one truth, one reality. The very notion of being individual beings is, in fact, the meditation of a separate self-identity, which in itself is the one cause of all suffering, of all upset, all fear, all anger and resentment, all limitation, all desire, the desire to be free, the desire to be at peace, the desire to be happy, rises from this meditation of a separate self-identity. When we withdraw the sense of I back into the pure awareness by redirecting attention inwardly, where it is by habit usually going outwardly, when we withdraw it, we cease from this meditation of a separate self-identity and become reestablished in the pure being of the self that we all are, which is love. Let's all do this now, intentionally, holding attention in the pure awareness that we all are for the next few minutes. Now, as we continue remembering, recognizing this prior awareness to the sense of individuality, underlying the sense of individuality is this universal consciousness out of which the sense of individual of being is occurring. All that is necessary is to continually recall the underlying awareness, even while expressing individually. If we will intentionally stay in this awareness while functioning in the world, we will be free of all of the tendencies of upset, or at least eventually will be, and we will be able to observe and experience them diminishing. All the seeming problems will gradually, and in some cases immediately, diminish and cease and no longer be problematic in our lives. These are the simple facts of the truth of what occurs when we live in, as, and from the pure awareness while still functioning in the world. All that is necessary is for us to stay steady in our inquiry. Inquiry is the process that will ever bring us back into the pure awareness. We must remember to attend to the pure awareness to the best of our ability without ceasing, to where we can eventually remain in and as and function from the pure awareness, and to what extent we can do so without effort, but as a natural expression of pure being, the being that we actually are. That is liberation. While it is being accomplished with effort, then we're still in the category of practice. And we must continue to practice until we can abide in this pure awareness effortlessly, naturally. And that's living in the freedom of the self. Simply see and know this. Rededicate yourself to this practice. But if we withdraw our attention into the awareness itself and abide in the essence of our being, instead of in the form that is manifesting as the world only has objective reality within our own consciousness. It does not exist outside of our consciousness of it. And it's our consciousness that gives rise to the apparent form of the world, and it's the ego that creates all of these forms, which is creating all of the problems that we're going about trying to solve the problems. Well, there is no way the mind can or will solve its own problems. It just does not work that way. The only way that we can solve the problems of the mind is to quit identifying with the mind. Cease from the body-mind identifications withdraw attention back into the pure awareness of being, which is the essence of our being, the formless, faceless, timeless, spaceless essence of being, which is pure spirit. And in this essence, we're already free. We don't have to deal with the form of things in the ordinary way. We can be prior to it and be in a place where we can observe the form without being at the effects of the form. And the more people who come to know this and who choose to live this as the basis of their life, which is the simple truth, which the Master Jesus said, when you know the truth, it is the truth that will make you free. And we can live in this freedom, from this freedom, and begin to see a transformation truly occurring in our own lives. And as it begins to occur in our own lives, we become instruments as motivation for those around us to begin to see that there's something different about us, and they're more open to receiving the truth, because if they recognize that we're not having the same upsets that maybe they are, and they may want to know, well, why is it that you're not upset about the same things that upset me? And you can honestly say, well, there was a time when those same things did upset me, but they no longer upset me, because I've come to understand that I don't have to be at the effect of what is occurring in the world. And it's very simple and very basic. All I have to do is withdraw my attention from the form of life back into the essence of my own being, and be free of what used to upset me but no longer does. And we would like to have that, shouldn't we, and wouldn't we all like to have that where we live and where we work and with whom we relate on a day-by-day basis? Just like it is when we come here to the center and assist and work and observe people going through our training and they themselves discovering, reawakening themselves into the pure awareness of the being that they are. Just this past week, we had an I-sit intensive program. 7 people were here going through it. It was an absolute delight to be present, to be involved in the lives of these people, observing and sharing their insights as they were sharing the joy, the gratitude, as they came to realize for themselves that it's not necessary to suffer. There is a couple here right now at our center who are here for a few days. They happen to be, one is a Unity minister and his wife from a center, a Unity church in North Carolina, that are here. And I was spending some time with them at lunch today, during and following lunch, and it was very significant for both of them. As I was pointing out to them, as they were asking and open to receive it, what AHAM's teaching is. And he was having wow-wees, ahas, tremendous insights that were occurring, happening, as I simply shared the simplicity and truth that has been awakened by all of us, basically, who have come into our teaching and who are experiencing our teaching, that it's the meditation of a separate self-identity that is causing us all of our problems. And he really got that. He had never heard it and seen it this way before, even though he's given maybe hundreds of sermons and used similar words and had similar meanings to his messages, but the difference is being awake in the awareness, as the awareness. And he said, will you just keep bringing me back into this pure awareness? I said, yes, exactly. That's all that is necessary. Remember this awareness. But you see, once you learn it, as we've all done here, what happens? No judgment here, but you've got to look and see for yourself. Are you practicing the abidance in the pure awareness of being, remaining alert in it, or are you succumbing to your mind's strategy to go unconscious? When you are in meditation, and I use the word meditation only grammatically here as a simple way to communicate, it's inquiry, it's not meditation. Maybe I better cover that. Do we understand the difference between meditation and inquiry?
Yes.
Is there anyone on this call, let me ask the question this way. Is there anyone on the call that is not sure of the difference between meditation and inquiry?
Yes.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right. The difference between meditation and inquiry. Meditation requires duality to perform the practice of meditation. When you're meditating, there is an I meditating on whatever the thought or object of meditation happens to be, which makes it into duality. If it's your breath that you're meditating on, or even if it's just any kind of a notion or the face of a spiritual being or an idea that you are meditating on, it requires two. It requires the mind to practice the method of meditation, and that is duality. And as long as the mind is required and is used for the practice, the mind will remain, it'll be fattened by the process. It's not dissolved by the process. It might purify the mind and bring it into a higher state of awareness, but it's still the mind present in and as and functioning in a higher state of awareness, or a higher state of consciousness, I should say. It's a better way of saying it, more correct way of saying it. Whereas inquiry is, once you have purified the mind, you're still there with a sense of I. Now, who is and what is this sense of I? That's inquiry. And when you inquire as to what is I, now you're withdrawing attention from the external flow of consciousness to an internal withdrawing into the pure awareness of being prior to the mind, free of the mind. Do you get it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Are we all clear about this?
Yes. Yes.
Anyone else have any question about it? Now, let me say it this way. Meditation will not bring about the transformation. It will only bring about the purification, not the transformation. But inquiry will bring about transformation. What does transformation mean? It means ending the trance of identification with the form of life and return attention fully into the essence of the self. Do we all get this?
Yes.
Okay, I would suggest you get the CD of this session so that you'll be clear about it. Now, when you use the inquiry, when you get to the place where you're beginning to threaten the mind, as you continue to withdraw attention into the pure awareness of being, the strategy of the mind is it doesn't want to stand still for this. The mind wants to survive. This sense of I, with all of the conditioned patterns, we tend to go unconscious. We go unconscious when we begin to withdraw attention back into the pure awareness of being. The mind's strategy is to survive. It's going to survive any way it can. And the one way in which it will survive is to go unconscious. That's the same, it's go to sleep. Again, if sleep would bring about the transformation, the whole world would be transformed. But the world is not transformed. We do not attain or arrive in or put ourselves in a place of allowing transformation to occur when we drift off, when we go unconscious, when we go asleep while practicing the inquiry. That is the one enemy to the process. So we must be very alert, very dedicated, very committed to staying with the process of inquiry by holding the sense of I firmly while taking it, the sense of I, which is now attention, taking it back into the pure awareness of being. When you do that, you're going to experience a great deal of tension, a great deal of resistance from the mind. But so what? That's just the proof that the process is working. Stay with the process and stay alert intentionally with the process as you push the sense of I even deeper into the pure awareness of being. As you continue in this practice and understand something, it's really not enough to just meditate occasionally or even frequently with just upsetting thoughts. Which thoughts is it that you must use the inquiry on? Which ones?
Oh.
Exactly. All thoughts. The moment you are aware that you're thinking, inquire, who's having this thought? I'm having this thought, or the thought is happening to me. Now, take a hold of the me or the I and redirect it and push it back into the pure awareness and hold it intentionally in or own the pure awareness. You must do it constantly, consistently, until eventually there is no resistance. And then you're able to just attend to, with very little or no resistance, attending to the pure awareness that is prior to the mind. Holding it there firmly. Eventually, all of the resistance will begin to give away, and it'll be easier and easier to just rest in and as the pure awareness that's being, remaining in the pure awareness of being with little or no effort at all. And then you'll begin to see that there is no effort at all as you stay with it. Occasionally it will fly back out. It will revert back out. Go back. Keep taking it back. Bhagavan used to use all kinds of analogies about the little squirrel one time that he was raising. And he talked about the little squirrel would run out of the nest. And if he ran out, he was in danger of being eaten up by the cat. And he kept saying, come back into the nest. Come back into the nest. And he would take it, pick up the little squirrel, and put him back in the nest. And he kept doing it every time he would run out of the nest. He would put him back in the nest. And he said that right there is an example of how we must continue to return the mind back into the nest, back into the source, back into the pure awareness of the self, the heart, the very core of being, until the tendency to run back out into the world, into externalized thought, completely subsides. And the tendency to go unconscious completely subsides, and we can remain in the awareness fully alert, fully present, here and now, functioning from this awareness. And then we see that it is our essence that is expressing, not thought, not the mind, but our being is expressing as essence. That's the process. That's the method. That is the way. And my loves, it is the only way. Every other way requires the mind, continues to feed the mind, continues to give importance to the mind to such an extent that the mind fattens. Eventually, we still have to come back to the inquiry no matter what other method we are using. If we were doing pranayama, for example, the meditation on the breath, the time would still come we'd have to ask the question, who is meditating on the breath? Who is doing the pranayama? The answer, I am. Now we have to do the inquiry. So why not do the inquiry right from the beginning? Why not use that as the method right from the beginning? There was someone who was a graduate of our programs this past week here, made a comment to me about, well, don't you have to go back in and still ask yourself, well, where did this pattern come from, and what is the nature of this pattern, and look at this pattern? Well, that you do that only in the moment when you've got a pattern that is very strong. You look at the pattern to dissect the pattern, but once you've dissected it and seen it and kind of taken it apart, then you've loosened it up. Then you ask, who has the pattern? I have the pattern. Oh, I? Who is this I? Bring the I back into the awareness. We don't have to continue to analyze the past in order to abide in the present. Why? Give me an answer. Why?
There is no past.
Exactly. Did you all hear that?
Yes.
What was the answer?
There is no past.
Exactly. There is no past. If you're abiding in this present moment, why bring up the past and go back and analyze the past that doesn't even exist? Stay in the present moment. Stay in this awareness that is the present moment. Are we all together in this?
Yes.
Is there anyone that's having any problem with this or any question about it whatsoever? Please, if there is, let me know right now. Now, be in this awareness. This is who we are. Remain firm in this awareness. This is who we are. Stay here forever. And be happy. Namaste. I love you all.